Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Three news stories. Firstly, Amhara region where banks have been closed due to conflict in the region, in which towns and districts banks have been closed. Who is in control there? Which banks have been closed? Any banks providing limited services? Details. So, you secondly, a Sudanese refugee has been killed in Ethiopia. Ethiopian government has failed to protect Sudanese refugees. It seems. Thirdly, Mahlet Teklai, the girl who was kidnapped 3 months ago, has been laid to rest. Her dead body was recovered yesterday. A ceremony, burial ceremony, was organized in Tigray yesterday. Firstly, viewers, Amhara region of Ethiopia, where the armed conflict between Fano militia members and Ethiopian security forces continues unabated. We are seeing the humanitarian cost of this conflict rise. Banks have been closed, economic cost rising, it means as well. In 4 districts of the North Shoa zone of the Amhara region, all banks have been closed. Since Friday, the banks have been closed. Command post in the area passed directions to banks to close their branches. In North Shore, if you remember, a bank was robbed more than a week ago in the same zone. Fano groups reportedly stormed the bank. More than 2 million were robbed in that bank robbery. Now, all banks in 5 districts, 5 towns of the North Shore zone have been closed. Vagera town in Menzlalo district, firstly. Secondly, Mekoe, which is in Ansokia, Gamza. Thirdly, Rebel Town, which is in Gashe, Rebel Town. Fourthly, Rasa, which is in Kuwait. In these 4 towns, all banking services have been suspended. In Majate, there is partial suspension of banking services. Some restrictions have been imposed. Majate is in Ansokia, Gamza. Mekoe has come under military control a few days ago. It was under Fano control, but it returned to government control now. Other places, Rasa, Vagara, Rebel Town, these are under the Fano control reportedly. That is why banks have been closed. A few days ago, we heard that government has passed directions to close all the banks in areas which are under the control of Fano or where Fano fighters have significant armed presence. Now, all banks, private, public, they've been told to close down their branches in these 4 districts. North Shore has been stronghold of Fano fighters, you can say. Military has launched several operations specifically in North Shore zone, but we have seen more assassinations in North Shore zone. North Shore is the first zone where banks have been formally closed. In other parts of Amhara, mostly banks are open. But here, formally closed. That show the gravity of the situation. That show that districts are under full control of Fano fighters. But just 5 districts mentioned so far. 5 towns rather. 5 towns in Voredas. We cannot say that entire North Shore is under Fano control, entire North Shore is out of government hand. No, just 5 districts. What will be the impact of this development? Obviously, it will have huge economic impact. How will people manage? How will businesses manage? How will government departments manage if banks are closed? And if more branches of these banks are closed in other parts of the Amhara region, it would be a blow to the Ethiopian banking industry. If hundreds of banks are closed, obviously it would be a serious blow to the economy, because banks generate revenue. Banking industry is one of the flourishing industries in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is opening up its banking sector to foreign banks too. Just last week, we heard that Ethiopia was inviting foreign banks to invest in Ethiopia. We could see arrival of foreign banks in Ethiopia, but the banks already operating in Ethiopia are not safe. They're closing their branches in parts of the Amhara region. Second was Sudanese refugees. Their plight in Ethiopia is being covered by several news sources. More deaths. 2 days ago, we heard from UN Refugee Agency that Sudanese refugees had come under attack by an Amhara militia. Thousands fled a camp, Olala camp in the Amhara region. Then they marched towards the Sudan Ethiopia border. They wanted to return to their country. They said that the situation in Ethiopia was more dangerous than the war in Sudan. They stayed a sit-in on Sudan, Ethiopia. What if you remember? Ethiopian Refugee and Returnee Service issued a statement back then saying that yes, incident of violence had happened, but that government had shortage of resources, but it would try its best to protect the refugees. Another Sudanese refugee has been killed reportedly. It happened in West Gondar. The refugee was not at the camp. Why did the refugee leave the camp without telling the authorities? It is being reported that the refugee went to buy medicine. While returning to the camp in a public transport vehicle, the vehicle came under attack. Some armed elements opened fire at the vehicle. 3 people were killed, 2 were injured. One Sudanese refugee among the casualties. One Sudanese refugee killed, 2 Ethiopians killed, 2 other Ethiopians injured. It wasn't a targeted attack, it seems, on the Sudanese refugee. Rather, the vehicle was targeted. It happened close to Mtimma, reportedly. The Fano groups have been fighting the Ethiopian security forces in and around Mtimma. Recently read some videos that told you about Fano's attempts to reach Sudanese border. Did Fano groups carry out this attack on the vehicle or some other armed groups? It's not clear, but the death of the Sudanese refugee is being confirmed by Ethiopian Refugee and Return Service. But the Ethiopian Refugee and Return Service and the local authorities, they say that it wasn't a targeted attack. Rather, the attack was on a vehicle by members of an armed group. And the local authorities say that the refugees should not have left the shelter. The refugees sometimes leave shelters, leave camps without intimating, without seeking permission from authorities, and they are targeted. So they should confine themselves, restrict themselves to their camps. The refugees complain that at the camps there is shortage of food, no appropriate measures have been taken to provide food aid and health care facilities to the refugees. So refugees have to leave camps. Sometimes they have to work, sometimes they have to buy things, because the situation at camps is not good for their health. They cannot make both ends meet. They don't receive enough food. So there are problems. Death of one refugee, Sudan refugee in Ethiopia, confirmed. Lastly was Mahlet Teklai, the girl from Tigray who went missing 3 months ago, has been laid to rest. Dead body was found yesterday in Adwa city. She was kidnapped from Adwa 3 months ago. The abductors demanded ransom. The family could not pay ransom. The girl was murdered. and the culprits arrested, then disclosed that they had dumped the dead body after killing the girl. The dead body was recovered, and yesterday burial ceremony was held in Adwa. It was attended by government officials as well. People displayed banners. Some were carrying Tigray's flag. Is it a normal practice that uh, Tigray's flag is displayed at burial ceremonies? Or some participants were carrying flag because they were Tigray government officials? The girl has been buried, and the police says that the attackers wanted ransom. Ransom was not paid. That is why she was murdered. Medical examination has been conducted. Its report has not been made public. Was she sexually assaulted or not? I think details should be shared by the government so that people should know what was the real intention of the criminals. Let's hope that these criminals will be punished, that there'll be speedy justice. Let's hope that the trial, I think, when violence against women is on the rise in a particular area, special courts can be set up, special laws can be introduced. Because when circumstances are special, you need to adopt special measures. As let's see what Tigray government does. Thank you for watching. Was a clip from Mahlet Teklai's burial ceremony, which was held in Tigray yesterday. Thank you.